Week 2 at camp. Tomorrow's first day of full pads. How's the first couple days of practice been for both of you?
I think it's been great. There's been a lot of competition. A lot of guys, I think, dialed in on just the process of getting better. Like the guys before me said, earning everything we get, focused on being consistent, coming in with a great mindset, great mentality every day, trying to improve, and try to be dominant. We have high expectations, high standards for ourselves in this defense. So, we're trying to raise the bar, raise the standard every day, and try to focus on being our best every time we step on that field.
Yeah, I think it's been good. The biggest thing for us going from last year to this year, it's a lot of the same players. Of course, we've added some great pieces, a lot in Coach Linam's room. But for us, is staying consistent, as Coach Chadwell's kind of put in front of us, consistent through all 4 quarters of the game. There were stretches last year where we played really, really well on defense, but we never felt like there was a complete game all the way through 4 quarters where we played great. And so that's been the number one focus of the staff and of the team, of just being as good as our best can be throughout the stretches of the game that we need them to be.
That was one thing I asked the guys about, is just having so many experienced players back. How much does that help with that mentality, that tempo of being able to play 4 quarters?
Yeah, I mean, all throughout the defense, like we were looking back in the summer and watching games from 2023 from our first year here, and a lot of those guys that we're going to count on this year were on the field then in the championship, in the Fiesta Bowl. And so for the staff, I think, and I'll let obviously Coach Linam talk too, but for myself, it's just comfort of knowing that these guys have gone through all the daily walkthroughs and the adjustments and the meetings with you for years and years and years, and at some point they start to think how we want them to think and see pictures and see offensive football the way that we see it. And so it's almost one of those things, if you feel not so stressed out that they might forget something, because some of that stuff becomes second nature. So it's a big help for us.
Yeah, I think it's twofold. Number one, from a mentality standpoint, a lot of those guys have been around. They were around in 23 when we experienced a lot of success. They're around last year when we didn't live up to expectations. So I think we're all on board. Everyone's going in the same direction. We're all on one accord of knowing each other, knowing the expectations, and everybody pulling the same way, trying to make everyone around us better. So that helps. And then just from a tactical standpoint and scheme-wise, there's a level of trust that we've built. And now we're able to, we started early and we started simple. Now we're able to start building, with similar schemes and concepts, but building on top of those concepts. And especially, the safeties, the backers on the back end, they get it, and there's high level of communication, high level of trust. So, I think there's a certain level of, there's extension of coaches on the field with Corey Jones and Joe Carter. So now you can get a little more complex while, still being simple and aggressive, but being as complex as you want to be. So that's been big for us.
When you mentioned having different people and the ability to get more complex, how much does that translate into players with greater versatility? And something Coach Krantz had talked about as well, the ability to carve out specialized roles if guys can do multiple things.
Yeah, I think that's big. Anytime a guy can master a position so that he can then move on to another position, and you can use that flexibility on the field. Just like, with the offense, if they're going to use guys in different roles and create different pictures and personnels, that's exactly what we're trying to do. We might look like we're in nickel defense, but, the structure might be different from play to play, from snap to snap. So if guys can understand where they fit in that scheme and do different things, and, you can try to take advantage of their skill set, and a guy can be dynamic. He can rush off the edge. He can play it backer. The more you can do, the more you can use different concepts and make it look the same way is huge.
Because you talked about Joe Carter, you spent a lot of time with him over the last few years. Where have you seen him improve the most from 23 to 24? And then, obviously he was a leading tackler on the team last year. So last year to this year, where have you seen, what are the areas he's improved in the last year?
Leadership. He, he's always been a guy who's been a great example. He does everything right. He is an extension of the coaches and the culture, and he's led by example. Now he's taken that next step He's been more vocal. He's been a guy who can hold people accountable. He's been a guy who can get up and talk in front of the team. And the more that he can use that influence and try to affect people positively around him by talking to them, trying to get them to understand what the culture is, what the expectation is, I think that helps you immensely. And he's been able to do that. That's been the number one thing I've seen.
You also, Josh, you got some new guys in your room too this year, and some new toys, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you been able to kind of figure out as early as we are into practice, or at least have a vision of how you think that you can use, these the Spurlocks, the Pollards, those types of guys?
It's starting to clear up a little bit, trying to figure out, what they're best at, what their skill set is. Right now, there's just such a high level of competition, so it's figuring out, who the guys are that we trust the most to go out there on the field. But yeah, we're starting to identify. Obviously there's longer type bodies like Micah Pollard who can go affect the edge and rush on the edge. There's Deuce who can rush off the edge, but he's so powerful and explosive. He can be a stacks backer. He can be a Will. He can be a Mike. He's learning both of those roles. He can walk up on the edge and do that. He's got some twitch and off the edge as well. Pretty explosive. So just trying to, as much as we can, put them in positions to do that so we can be multiple, mixing them in at Mike and Will so that there's a comfortability with being the guy who's calling the defense, who's making the front calls, making the checks, making the kills. So that's been good. We're still early in the process, but it has shown like they're the right type of guys. They have the right mentality. They have high character. They're willing to work hard. So going out there on the practice field every day is fun, and we're still trying to learn these guys.
You touched on some of those traits that are positives. When you have a chance to get your hands on to coach some of those type of players with that type of pedigree and see the smile pops to your face,
Yeah.
How do you differentiate the positive traits that they bring to the table from ones that, whether they just didn't get the opportunity or was injuries, things that made them available to where they were transfers that were out there and available in the first place?
That's a good question. So when you pop on tape, you start to look for a few traits: speed, toughness, instincts, length. If a guy has speed and he's got length and he's aggressive, you got something there. You've got something you can mold and work with. He may not have gotten an opportunity. He may have been behind some All-American guys at Michigan or Florida. He could have something missing. Like there's guys in the portal, majority of them, may have something missing, but that doesn't mean that it's not somebody who could help you out or something you can't mold and work with. So you see speed, toughness, instincts, and length in the guys that can run. I think you have a chance. They've got to have that willing mentality, and they've got to, love football. But if they do, and you see that in them, then you're working with something.
And I would add to that too. Speaking about the linebackers that we brought in, Coach Linam brought in, you talk about Darrell, talk about Micah, talk about Deuce. They all have, like he said, all great traits, all those things. They were in one position or the other. But to me, and to I think the rest of the coaching staff, the thing that stands out is their intangible qualities of not just loving football, but being fantastic people. Like I think as the fans get to know these three guys, they're all elite people. Like not just love football, but they're great people. They're great teammates. They've got great personalities. They're great to talk to. And I think when you look for people in the portal, that's what you have to look for, because there are so many people in the portal with so many good clips and bad clips and all those things. But the number of really good football players that are really good people are uncommon. And I think in the linebacker room in the portal this year, I think Coach Linam and the rest of the staff found three really, really good ones.
That's what, that's one of Coach Chadwell's biggest things is he a good teammate, and does he love football? And I will say, like, from Crisp to Aiden to Darrell to Micah to Deuce, like, they are really good humans. They're high character guys. I don't have to worry about them doing anything off the field, and they love football. They're very driven, intrinsically motivated to learn the defense, learn the system, to be great. So when they have that foundation and that mindset, it is fun. It's a blast to work with them every day.
You talk about them being motivated. Darrell's a guy that Coach Chadwell mentioned specifically, said the guy's probably been in the building more than he has. Just tell me about his motivation, but then also just on the field, what qualities he brings.
Yeah, his motivation, I think he operates on a different level. He is a guy who just gets it. Like, he's got a veteran mindset. He's got a pro mentality. He wants to max out his potential, and it's evident in the way that he approaches the game. He approaches the film room. He approaches studying. So that's been big. On the field, it shows up just in his attention to detail, him asking questions constantly, trying to learn something, trying to, get caught up with the rest of the guys. He can fly, I'll tell you that. And a lot of that comes with being comfortable in the system and knowing where to look and what your keys are and, how you fit in the scheme and the defense. But that's starting to click for him. So I think as we go forward in this next week, you're going to see him being shot out of a cannon because the dude can absolutely roll.
I know the word of the year is earn. Have you seen the guys' attitude and maybe response to that word and earning their opportunity, earning their spot, earning their playing time? Have you seen that kind of establish an identity early with this defense?
So I think we have a pretty veteran group, obviously, as we've talked about. And so those guys know that there's talent and potential in the room. And so it's what you said, and obviously Coach Chadwell's word for all of us is that we aren't a good defense or we won't potentially be a good defense because we step out there with good players or we have good calls. We're going to have to earn the right to say that we are a good defense through the way we play consistently. And so it's fun group to have, and it's only groups on this come around every so often where it's so veteran laden. But these guys know, as we experienced last year, just being talented won't do the trick for us completely. And the goals of this program are very clear, and everyone, I think, knows what is expected of us here at Liberty, on and off the field. And so to reach those, both on and off the field, we're going to have to earn the right to do it. It's not going to be handed to us. We're not going to walk out there and roll the ball out and just be the better team. And that's that. Every single victory, especially in our league, but every single victory is earned, as we said. And so I think those guys have done a really, really good job of trying to embrace that as their word, as their mindset. And I mean, we're 4 days through. Today's day 5, practice 5. But so far, those guys have done a great job. Now we'll see as the weather heats up and snaps go down and real depth charts come out, and can we keep that? And that's going to be the challenge, because last year at this point, we felt great. And then that mentality of a little bit of entitlement started to creep in various places, not everywhere. But can we sustain that all the way through December? That's going to be our challenge.
Yeah, just to add to that, I think football is obviously it's a very tough sport. And everyone's not built for it, and if any type of complacency starts to seep in, it can be shown in a single game, and you can lose to anybody. Like, college football is hard. Teams are good. So I think taking the approach of being a effort-based, entitlement-free unit where you got to go out there every single day and fight for your identity and fight for the standards that you believe in, that's what I think is going to carry us and propel us forward. We have started to show that. Obviously, like Coach Fierbaugh said, it's a long season, and we just have gotten started. It's about to get harder. So we just want to see, when stuff gets sticky, who are the guys that are going to rise to the top, who are the guys that are going to quit, who can we trust when things are going well to be resilient, to continue to push forward and hold those standards high. So I think we're on the right track, though.